Hi, Marcus.
Okay, Debbie, how are you doing? Well, not so good, apparently. You just got voted out.
Oh, that's okay, baby. I'm good. It's all good.
Nice. I've seen every episode of Survivor, all 32 seasons, and I think you are going to be remembered. I think you had that effect on people. When you walk down the street, what do people want to talk to you about this game?
The number one thing, in all honesty, is, how did you get on? And a lot of people just want me to see their tapes. But I think more to your point, like, what is the most interesting? They want to know how hard it was, really. And I tell them, well, I didn't just swim the English Channel or go to the North Pole on a dog sled. There were certain safety things that you don't have, say, climbing K2. But they want to know how tough I thought it really was.
And how tough? Like a scale of 1 to 10. 10 would mean, like, I never want to do it again.
Okay, well, 10 to me would be, like Bird and Perry racing towards the North Pole when there weren't even, little heat warmers for your hands. So a 7, maybe a 10.
That's still pretty impressive, pretty scary number.
It is, Marcus, but have you ever seen those guys that do what they call cliff diving? They put on wingsuits and jump. Okay,
I have.
They're 10s because half of them die climbing Mount Everest. 1 in 4 die, and only maybe 30% ever reach the top. Survivor's not that tough, and you can always quit,
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good 6. I'll give it a 6.
And let's talk about that #blindside last night. That was a shocker. I mean, your own alliance turned against you when they had all of these other options.
Yeah, how about it? Right.
How shocked were you? Was that something you didn't see coming at all?
No, I saw it coming completely, actually.
How come?
Yeah. Well, when you initially get back, previous to Julia getting immunity, and the girls just had a bad feeling about Julia, and I understood why. But the reason I was adamant about not taking out Julia was you do not appease tyrants. I don't put up with bullies and misogyny and patronizing and commanding. You're no stallion, and I'm not your mare. And I don't care how much testosterone you got in this body, I can still get rid of you. But the girls played it safe, Marcus. They really did. They were afraid of the guys, especially Audrey, that they were going to take her out somehow. And I was just convinced that there was no way in hell, actually overheard them talking about it. Jason and Ty were going to give up their idols to save a millionaire's butt. So I wanted to go 2-2-2 for the guys, split it 2 for each guy, see who coughs up an idol, see how brave they are now. But I just couldn't get the girls to do it.
Bummer.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, once Julia had immunity, I said to Audrey, now who do you want it to be? And when she couldn't come up with a name, I knew it was me, and Joe told me.
Wow.
So, I knew.
I must say, the way everything was edited last night, it was a little confusing because I feel like Audrey didn't trust you because you liked Julia, but then Audrey goes and asks Julia to vote you out. Like, she was still using Julia as a pawn. It almost seems like, is Audrey running the show right now?
You're the only one who said that all day, and that is very smart and astute of you. Because the big question
thank you.
Yes, but good for you, Marcus. No, good for you, sir. Because that's right. If Audrey was so smart and so worried, why did she go to Julia? And if she was going to go to Julia, why didn't she just go for Scott anyway?
Right.
Because Julia was going to betray her. That's what you do. You roll the dice. But Audrey was very neurotic and hypersensitive, and I mean that with all due respect because it did keep her in the game. But, did you see the way the Marcus looked at me? What did he mean when he said that? Everything was overanalyzed, and I just don't live my life like that. And, it's exhausting. Oh, my God, Marcus didn't call me for 27 minutes. Do you think that he still loves me? But it was good for her game, and taking me out was the safe thing to do for them. It took the target completely off their backs, and I get that. I just have more balls, and I'm more confrontational than that. You want to throw rocks at me? I don't know. Maybe I'll steal your clothing, and you'll have to wear another man's dirty shorts.
After the merge, we really did see you play really hard. If you could go back and do things differently, would you change any of the things that you did, or do you think what you did was helpful for your game?
Well, obviously, I don't think it could have been that helpful, but, Marcus, I was down to maybe 92, maybe 94 pounds. Even I thought I looked skeletal, so I was running on reserves, and the reserve tank was empty. Did you notice the enormous bandage on my right shoulder?
Yes.
Yeah, how about that? So physically and mentally, I had it. My biggest mistake was I should have gone into that game weighing at least 130, and I didn't. I'm not a fuel storage carrying type of person to begin with, if you know what I mean. What would I have changed? I would have done one of two things. The first thing I would have done was tried to convince Audrey even more in a more rational way, but I really did all I could. It was just over that. We need to stick with Scott, and we need to do it now. This isn't World War II. He's not Hitler. We're not Neville Chamberlain. We do not play nice with tyrants. We fight war with war, and that's why I stole the guy's shorts, quite frankly. However, the second thing I would have done is I knew the guys were going for Sydney. When I leaned over and I said something to Joe, I could have just as easily, instead of saying, hey, it's been great, my pleasure, I could have just as easily said, let's take out Sydney. But then that would have left me stuck with Jason Ty, who as human beings, there was some real reprehensible behavior going on there. And as a human being, it was just really hard for me to swallow.
It was hard to watch Scott and Jason last night, what they were doing, and the way they kind of convinced Ty to join them as if peer pressuring him, like, hey, this is what we need to do. And then Ty starts doing the same things. It's very uncomfortable. I can't imagine what the families were thinking watching this poor sportsmanship.
Oh, my God. Again, you must think a lot like I do. But I said, just because you're on national television, it doesn't give you a license for bad behavior. And I wasn't on TV, oh, look at me, I made it on the show. I mean, I really wanted to do very good things, pretty much save animals with $1 million, pay my kids' way through college, maybe some nephews. But people are watching you. And I'm not quite as kooky or talkative. I am as hardworking. I am as physically fit. I am as, usually aware. But I'm glad that I talked Audrey into staying when I could have beaten her into the ground and got her to quit. Some people wanted me to let Audrey quit. The doctor was there. Probst was there. And I just said, if my kids were out here, I would want somebody to be kind, to be a human being. I want to raise people up. I don't want to tear them down, Marcus, even for $1 million.
I think that's why you resonated so much with the audience, because you were a real person out there. You weren't like a character. We could tell this is really Debbie.
Yeah, for the most part it was, although I am an excellent juggler. It did annoy me that they only showed me dropping when I juggled because I am a standing member of the Berks County Jugglers Association, but I was trying to juggle 3 weird stones. But anyway, some of the portrayal of me was more kooky, whimsical, eccentric than it had to be, but that's okay.
Right. I feel like that was early on. It was more of kooky Debbie, but the more we got to know you, it was more of the strategist Debbie that we got to see.
I agree with you. I thought the first 2 episodes, my daughter's comment was, oh, my God, Mom, you probably spoke for 5 minutes in 24 hours, and that's the only 5 minutes. But a 5th grade class actually timed how much they showed everybody, and they just started calling it the Debbie Show. And Marcus, quite frankly, I thought I'd be completely forgettable. I thought nobody will ever think of me once I'm off the air again. I'll just be, oh, who? Oh, she was on Cambodia? Okay. But
well, I have a feeling, I mean, I have no influence, obviously, but if they were to bring back people for a future season, I hope that they would give you a call and say, Debbie, do you want to come back and do it again?
Well, thank you.
And you would say yes, no,
maybe.
Maybe.
I would say maybe. Look, Marcus, you're young. You're much younger than I am. At 50 years old, the average American has kids to worry about. Maybe those kids already have kids and there's grandkids. They've got aging parents, maybe Alzheimer's, cancer, who knows? You know, you're the sandwich generation. You have a job. You're upper management. You can't just go bopping off. You know, I'm not rich. I'm not what most people would call rich. Unless they're Cambodian, then I'm filthy rich, of course. So when you are in what I called, and I know I'm right, the toughest position to be in on Survivor, i.e. the old woman, there's a lot of obligations that you may not be able to walk away from home, as it's not that easy as it is for somebody in their 20s with no kids, no responsibilities. So It's a maybe. It's a maybe.
And final question before you head out. There are 8 people left. We have Scott, Jason, Ty, Julia, Michelle, Sydney, Aubrey, and Joe. Who do you want to win? Like, forget who may win. Who do you, just in your heart, you want to make sure this person wins $1 million?
Joe.
Okay. And how come?
Just a decent class act human being. Does Yorkshire Terrier Rescue, has been through hell and back in his personal life, doesn't suck his thumb and cry boo-hoo about it, earned his keep, stayed a class act even when he shouldn't have, even when he should have kicked somebody in the balls, he maintained his dignity, and he's a rarity today. Just a rare, great human being.
Nice. Well, it was great talking to you. I hope we see you at the reunion next month.
Thank you, Marcus.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.